quiet walk through ancient Rome. Welcome to this gentle journey. In the opening moments of this video, you will see a simple title card. After that, the screen will slowly fade to darkness, leaving only the quiet sound of my voice to guide you. There are no bright visuals to follow, only the steady rhythm of words describing the stones, the air, and the long-ago life of a city that still echoes in memory. Settle in, let your breathing slow, and allow the story to unfold at its own unhurried pace. The darkness around you becomes a soft blanket, warm and steady, holding the world at a gentle distance so that only the words remain. Each sentence arrives like a slow breath, carrying images of ancient streets and quiet courtyards without any need for haste or sudden change. You may notice how your shoulders loosen as the voice continues, how the ordinary sounds of the room around you begin to fade into the background. This is a time for rest, for letting the mind wander along paths laid down long before our own era, paths that still feel solid beneath imagined feet. The city waits in memory, not as a place of noise or hurry, but as a series of quiet moments linked by the simple act of walking. Allow yourself to sink deeper into the stillness, trusting that nothing demands your attention except the calm unfolding of the tale. The fade to darkness has done its work, and now the journey begins in earnest, carried forward by nothing more than the steady, untroubled flow of description. The voice continues without pressure, each word chosen to bring a sense of peace rather than excitement. You find yourself breathing more deeply, the rhythm of the sentences matching the natural pace of your own breath. The city of memory opens before you like a well-loved book whose pages turn slowly in lamplight. There is no destination that must be reached by a certain hour, only the pleasure of noticing what has always been there. The stones, the walls, the trees, the water, all of them waiting in quiet patience for someone to walk among them with an open and unhurried mind. Let the darkness hold you gently while the words paint their slow pictures. Nothing is required of you except to listen and to rest. The evening settles around the words like a familiar cloak, soft and comforting. You allow the ordinary concerns of the day to drift away, replaced by the steady images of an ancient city at peace with itself. The voice carries you forward without effort, each phrase adding another layer of calm to the growing quiet within. This is a time outside of time, a space where the only movement is the gentle progress of the story itself. You rest in the knowledge that the city waits exactly as it has always waited, unchanged by the passing of centuries. The words continue their steady flow, each one chosen to bring comfort and a sense of gentle continuity with the past. You find the darkness becoming a companion rather than an absence, holding the space for the story to unfold without interruption. The journey through memory begins now, carried forward by nothing more than the quiet rhythm of description and the willingness to rest within it. Chapter 1. The first stones beneath your feet. You begin at the edge of the old city, where the paving stones of the Via Appia still lie in even rows. These wide, dark blocks were laid more than 2,000 years ago by careful hands that measured each distance with ropes and rods. The road stretches straight ahead, its surface worn smooth by countless sandals and cartwheels. On either side rise low walls of tufa stone, the soft volcanic rock that early builders found easy to cut yet strong enough to last. As you walk, the air carries the faint scent of dry earth and wild herbs that have taken root between the cracks. The sun, low and warm, casts long shadows that move slowly across the path. Each step lands with a soft sound, the stone holding the warmth of the day. Farther along, the road passes small tombs and markers, simple columns and carved names that speak of ordinary lives rather than grand deeds. The city itself remains hidden for now, still a distant line of rooftops against the hills. Here on the approach, Rome feels like a quiet promise rather than a busy center. The stones continue unbroken, inviting you to keep a measured pace and notice how the light changes on their surface. You notice the way the edges of each block have been rounded by time, how small plants find purchase in the narrow gaps and send up thin green shoots that sway with the lightest air. The road was built to last, its foundation sunk deep into the earth so that even centuries of rain and frost could not shift its course. Walking here, you feel the solidity beneath your feet, a reminder that some things were made with patience and foresight. The horizon ahead remains gentle, the hills rising in soft curves covered with grass that has turned golden in the late season. A single bird calls from a distant tree, its note clear and unhurried, echoing the pace of your own steps. The light continues to shift, painting longer shadows that stretch across the stones like slow-moving fingers. You keep your gaze on the path directly ahead, letting the details of each stone enter your awareness one by one. The air grows slightly cooler as the afternoon deepens, carrying the scent of distant fields where wheat has already been gathered. Nothing presses for speed. The road simply continues, straight and true, offering its even surface for as long as you wish to follow it. The tombs stand quietly at intervals, their simple shapes marking the passing of ordinary days rather than great events. You read the names in your mind without needing to see the letters clearly, knowing that each one represents a life lived in the same rhythm of sunrise and sunset that still governs the world. The stones underfoot have a slight give in places where the earth has settled over centuries, yet they remain level enough for comfortable walking. The herbs between the cracks release their scent with each step, a small gift of fragrance that changes as the sun moves across the sky. The distant rooftops draw nearer by degrees, never rushing the approach. The entire scene holds a quality of timelessness, as though the road has always been there and always will be, waiting for the next pair of feet to pass. The fields on either side stretch away in gentle waves of golden grass, their boundaries marked by low stone walls that have stood for generations. The bird calls again, its note carrying across the open space with perfect clarity. You continue walking, each step landing with the same measured weight, the road accepting your presence without resistance. The light on the stones shifts from warm gold to softer amber as the afternoon lengthens. The herbs between the cracks grow thicker in places, their small flowers adding tiny spots of color to the gray surface. The road continues its straight course, leading onward without deviation or surprise. The approach to the city remains unhurried, the stones offering their even surface for as long as the walk continues. The distant line of rooftops grows gradually nearer, the promise of the city revealing itself slowly and without pressure. Chapter 2. Entering through the old gate. The Servian wall appears ahead, its massive blocks of gray stone rising higher than a man can reach. Built centuries before the Great Empire, this barrier once marked the true edge of the city. You pass beneath an arched gateway where the wood of the original doors has long since vanished, leaving only the stone frame. Inside, the air shifts slightly, carrying the smell of wood smoke and baking bread from nearby homes. The street widens into a modest square lined with shops, whose awnings stretch out on wooden poles. Vendors speak in low voices, arranging baskets of olives and loaves still warm from the oven. Children play with clay marbles near the fountain, their laughter soft and brief. The pavement here is a patchwork of older and newer stones, some replaced after years of wear. A gentle breeze moves through the narrow lanes that branch off the main road, carrying the sound of water trickling from a public basin. You pause for a moment at the fountain, letting your fingers trail across the cool stone lip. The city opens before you now, its rooftops climbing the gentle slopes of the hills, the distant sound of hammers from a workshop mixing with the rustle of leaves from plane trees planted along the street. The gateway itself feels like a threshold, the stones worn smooth where countless hands have brushed against them over generations. Beyond it, the square holds a quiet order, the shops arranged in even rows that speak of daily rhythms repeated without end. The fountain's water rises and falls in a steady rhythm, the sound blending with the low murmur of conversation. You notice how the light filters through the awnings, casting soft patterns on the ground. The children move with the unself-conscious grace of those who belong completely to their place. A dog lies in the shade of a doorway, its sides rising and falling with slow breaths. The breeze carries the faint sweetness of ripening fruit from a nearby stall. Everything here moves at the pace of ordinary life, unhurried and complete in itself. You stand a little longer at the fountain, feeling the coolness rise from the water and settle into your skin before you continue onward. The wall's great blocks fit together with such precision that even after all this time, no gap has widened enough to weaken the structure. The arch overhead frames the square beyond like a picture, the light inside softer than the open road. The vendors work with steady hands, their voices low and companionable. The fountain lip is cool to the touch, the water below clear enough to show the bottom stones. The square itself feels like a small world complete in itself, bounded by the buildings, yet open to the sky. plane trees at the far end move their leaves in patterns that catch the light and release it again. You carry the memory of the cool water with you as you move deeper into the city. The gateway stones have been polished by countless touches, their surfaces smooth and cool, even in the warmth of the day. The square beyond opens like a welcoming room, its boundaries defined by the shops and the gentle movement of people within. The vendors arrange their goods with care, each basket and loaf finding its place without haste. The fountain continues its steady rhythm, the water falling back into the basin with a sound like soft rain. You stand a moment longer, letting the coolness of the stone and water settle into your awareness before continuing. The transition from the open road to the enclosed square feels natural and unforced, the city welcoming the walker without ceremony or demand. Chapter 3. The Forum in Morning Light. Continuing inward, you reach the Forum, the open heart of the city. Wide paving stones cover the ground, their surfaces polished by generations of feet. At this early hour, the space is nearly empty, the long shadows of columns falling across the plaza. Temples stand along the edges, their marble steps leading up to porches supported by fluted columns. The largest temple, dedicated to Jupiter, rises on its high platform, the roof tiles catching the first strong light of the day. Benches of stone line the walkways where people will later gather to talk or rest. A single fountain bubbles quietly in one corner, its basin carved from a single block of stone. You walk the length of the open area, counting the steps between the rows of columns that once held up porticos. The air feels still here, protected by the surrounding buildings. On the far side, the rostra platform stands empty, its front decorated with the bronze prows of old ships now turned green with age. The stones underfoot are warm from the sun, and the faint echo of your own footsteps returns softly from the temple walls. Nothing moves quickly in this place at this hour. The Forum waits patient for the day to begin in earnest. The columns cast their shadows in perfect lines, each one a quiet reminder of the hands that shaped them. You pause beside one of the benches, running your hand along its smooth surface worn by countless sitters. The fountain's gentle sound fills the space without demanding attention. From this vantage, the temples seem to stand guard over the open ground, their presence steady rather than imposing. The light continues to strengthen, touching the highest points first, and then slowly descending the marble surfaces. A single leaf drifts down from a nearby tree, landing without sound on the paving. The entire space holds a kind of held breath, as though it knows the hours ahead will bring more movement, yet chooses for now to remain in stillness. You continue your measured walk, letting each detail settle before moving to the next. The polished stones reflect the light in subtle ways, each one slightly different from its neighbors, yet part of the same continuous surface. The temple steps invite ascent, but you remain on the level ground, content to walk the length of the plaza. The rostra's bronze prows catch the light in patches of green and brown, their shapes still recognizable after so many years. The air holds the faintest trace of incense from an early offering, mixing with the cleaner scent of stone and water. The forum at this hour belongs completely to the walker, its vastness made intimate by the absence of crowds. You feel the warmth of the stones rising through your feet, connecting you to all those who have walked here before. The columns stand in perfect rows, their fluted surfaces catching the light in vertical lines that emphasize their height. The benches are placed at regular intervals, their surfaces smooth from years of use. The fountain bubbles quietly, its sound a gentle counterpoint to the stillness of the open space. You continue walking, each step revealing new details of the surrounding temples and their quiet presence. The forum at this early hour offers its space freely. The polished stones and standing columns creating a sense of ordered calm that invites the walker to move slowly and notice everything. Chapter 4. Along the Sacred Way. From the forum, you follow the Via Sacra, the most honored street in the city. Its surface is made of large, carefully fitted blocks that have been relayed many times, yet still hold their straight course. Small altars stand at intervals along the way, each one a simple stone block with a shallow bowl for offerings. Plain trees cast dappled shade across the pavement, their leaves stirring with the lightest breeze. Shops and houses rise on both sides, their ground floors open to the street, with wooden shutters folded back. You pass a bakery where the smell of fresh bread drifts out, then a potter's workshop with rows of unfired vessels drying on shelves. The street climbs gently toward the Palatine Hill, the paving becoming slightly uneven where roots have lifted the stones over the years. At a small crossroads, a modest shrine holds a weathered statue of a household god, flowers, and a few coins left at its base. The sound of distant voices drifts down from upper windows, but here on the street, the quiet remains unbroken, except for the occasional creak of a cartwheel. You keep your pace slow, letting the details of each doorway and window frame settle in your mind. The altars receive no special attention, simply standing as quiet markers of daily reverence. The plane trees provide just enough shade to cool the air without blocking the light entirely. You notice the way the shutters are painted in soft colors that have faded evenly with time. The bakery's warmth spills out in gentle waves, carrying the promise of simple nourishment. Further along, the potter's clay smells of earth and water, a reminder of hands shaping new forms from ancient materials. The slight unevenness in the stones underfoot becomes a pleasant rhythm rather than an obstacle. At the shrine you pause briefly, noticing how the offerings have been placed with care. The street continues its gentle rise, leading onward without urgency. The altars are small enough to be easily overlooked, yet placed with intention at regular intervals. The plane trees have grown tall enough that their roots occasionally lift the paving, creating the slight variations that make each step different. The bakery door stands open, the interior visible in the soft light, loaves arranged on wooden racks. The potter's workshop shows vessels in various stages of drying, their surfaces still damp in places. The shrine at the crossroads holds its small statue with quiet dignity, the offerings left by passers-by who pause for only a moment. The voices from above remain distant, part of the larger fabric of the city rather than any particular conversation. You continue walking, each detail adding to the sense of a place lived in for generations. The street maintains its honored character through the care with which it has been maintained. The stones replaced when necessary, but always in keeping with the original pattern. The altars stand as quiet reminders of daily devotion, their bowls often empty, yet always ready to receive. The plane trees provide shade that moves with the sun, their leaves creating patterns that change throughout the day. You continue along the gentle rise, the details of each shop and house settling into your awareness without effort. The Via Sacra continues its steady course, the slight climb offering new views of the surrounding buildings as you walk. Chapter 5. Climbing the Palatine slope. The road begins to rise more steeply as you leave the Forum behind. The slope of the Palatine is covered with houses of varying ages, their walls built of brick and stone. Narrow stairways cut between buildings lead to upper terraces where gardens grow in terracotta pots. You choose a quieter path that winds along the hillside, passing under archways that support the higher streets above. The air grows cooler in the shade of the buildings, and the sound of water from a hidden cistern echoes faintly. Ivy climbs the walls in places, its dark leaves contrasting with the pale stone. At one turn, you pause to look back over the roofs of the lower city, the red tiles forming a gentle pattern broken by the occasional dome or tower. A cat rests on a windowsill, its eyes half closed in the sun. The path continues upward, the steps worn into shallow curves by years of use. Small fountains set into niches provide cool water for those who climb. You drink from one, the stone basin smooth beneath your hand, then continue at the same unhurried speed. The houses here sit close together, yet maintain a sense of privacy through their small courtyards and high windows. The stairways are narrow enough that two people might pass with care, their surfaces polished by generations of feet. The archways overhead create brief moments of deeper shade where the temperature drops noticeably. The ivy adds a living texture to the stone, its leaves moving with the faintest air. From the turn, you can see how the city spreads below in layers, each level built upon the memory of the one beneath. The cat remains perfectly still, a small point of calm in the larger scene. The fountains offer their water without ceremony, simply present for whoever needs it. You drink slowly, tasting the coolness before moving on. The path winds in a way that reveals new views at each turn, the rooftops below shifting their pattern as you climb. The houses on this slope have been added to over generations, their walls showing different styles of brickwork side by side. The gardens on the terraces catch the light differently depending on their height, some in full sun and others in dappled shade. The cat's stillness seems to match the pace of the walk, a moment of perfect rest on a warm windowsill. The fountains are carved with simple patterns that have softened with time, their basins always full and ready. You carry the coolness of the water with you as the path continues upward. The stairways offer brief rests at each landing, the view changing with each level gained. The houses maintain their privacy through small courtyards that catch the light in unexpected ways. You continue climbing at the same unhurried pace, each step revealing new details of the hillside life. The Palatine slope offers its quiet paths and hidden corners to the walker who moves without haste, each turn bringing new discoveries at the same gentle speed. Chapter 6: Gardens and Quiet Courtyards. Near the top of the slope, you enter a series of linked courtyards belonging to older houses. These open spaces are paved with mosaics of simple geometric patterns, the colored stones still bright where they have been sheltered from heavy rain. Low walls divide the gardens into beds planted with herbs and flowering shrubs. A central fountain, no taller than a man, sends a thin stream of water into a shallow pool where goldfish move slowly among the lilies. Stone benches sit beneath pergolas covered with grapevines, the leaves creating a green ceiling that filters the light. You walk the length of each courtyard, noticing how the sound of the fountain changes as you move from one space to the next. A gardener works quietly at one end, pruning a rose bush with small shears. The air carries the scent of rosemary and mint crushed underfoot. At the far side, a covered walkway leads to the next house, its columns painted in soft reds and ochres that have faded gently with time. Nothing here feels rushed. The courtyards hold the warmth of the day and the stillness of long habit. The mosaics form patterns that repeat without monotony, their colors softened by age, yet still clear. The low walls keep each garden distinct while allowing the eye to travel across the whole. The fountain stream falls with a steady, musical sound that varies slightly with the wind. The goldfish drift without purpose, their movements creating small ripples that spread and fade. The grapevines overhead move in slow patterns, casting shifting shadows on the ground below. The gardener's shears make only the softest sound, a gentle snip repeated at intervals. The scent of herbs rises with each step, mixing with the cooler air from the fountain. The covered walkway offers a transition, its painted columns holding the memory of earlier colors now softened into harmony with the stone. Each courtyard feels like a small room open to the sky, its boundaries clear, yet inviting passage. The mosaics underfoot have been repaired in places where a stone has cracked, the new pieces fitting seamlessly into the old pattern. The gardens are tended with care, but not precision, the plants allowed to grow in their natural shapes. The fountain's pool reflects the sky in brief glimpses between the lily pads. The benches beneath the pergolas offer places to sit and watch the light move across the leaves. The gardener works with the same unhurried attention that characterizes the entire walk. The scent of rosemary and mint lingers as you move from one courtyard to the next. The courtyards connect in a way that allows the walker to pass through without ever feeling confined, each space opening naturally into the next. The mosaics catch the light in small flashes of color, their patterns becoming familiar as you walk their length. You continue through the linked spaces, the fountain's sound changing with each new perspective. The gardens and courtyards of the Palatine offer their quiet beauty to the walker who moves slowly, each detail revealing itself at its own unhurried pace. Chapter 7. The Markets of the Subura. Descending again by a different route, you reach the lower district known as the Subura. Here the streets grow narrower and the buildings taller, their upper stories leaning slightly toward each other. Shops line both sides, selling everything from cloth to lamps to fresh vegetables. You pass a stall where a merchant arranges stacks of terracotta bowls, each one stamped with a simple maker's mark. The smell of cooking onions and garlic drifts from open doorways where families prepare the midday meal. Children run past carrying small bundles, their bare feet making almost no sound on the packed earth between the stones. At a corner, a public fountain runs steadily, women filling clay jugs and balancing them on their heads as they walk away. You pause at a bookseller's stall, the scrolls tied with linen ribbons and stacked on low tables. The merchant speaks softly with a customer, pointing to a particular volume. The street continues its gentle curve, leading toward the older parts of the city where the buildings date back many generations. The light here is softer, filtered by the height of the surrounding walls. The narrowness creates a sense of intimacy, the buildings almost touching overhead in places. The shops open directly onto the street, their goods displayed on low tables that catch the filtered light. The merchant's hands move with practiced care, each bowl finding its place in the stack. The cooking smells are rich and homey, speaking of daily meals prepared without haste. The children move like quick shadows, their energy contained within the narrow space. The fountain provides a constant background, its water catching the light as it falls. At the bookseller, you notice how the scrolls are arranged by size, the ribbons in muted colors. The merchant's voice remains low, part of the larger quiet of the street. The curve ahead promises new turns and new details to notice at the same unhurried pace. The buildings lean in a way that speaks of many years of settling, their upper stories supported by wooden beams that have darkened with age. The shops display their wares without ostentation, the goods arranged for easy viewing by those who pass. The merchant at the bowl stall works with steady hands, occasionally pausing to admire a particularly well-made piece. The cooking smells change as you walk, each doorway offering a different combination of herbs and vegetables. The children pass without interrupting the quiet, their bundles held carefully. The fountain at the corner runs with a steady flow, the water clear and cold. The bookseller's scrolls lie in neat rows, their ribbons tied with simple knots. You continue around the curve, the light growing softer as the buildings grow taller. The narrow streets create a sense of enclosure that feels protective rather than confining, the buildings holding the cool air of the morning. You continue walking, each new detail adding to the rich tapestry of daily life in this older quarter of the city. The Subura maintains its character through the steady rhythms of its markets and the quiet activity of its residents, the streets offering their details to the walker who moves without haste. Chapter 8: Temples along the river. Following a wider avenue, you arrive at the riverfront, where several temples stand close to the water. The Tiber flows slowly past, its surface reflecting the sky and the stone embankments. You walk along the paved quay, the sound of the current a constant low murmur. The Temple of Portunus rises on a low platform, its columns slender and closely spaced. Nearby stands the round Temple of Hercules, its roof a simple cone of terracotta tiles. Steps lead down to the water where small boats are tied, their oars resting across the thwarts. A fisherman mends a net on the stones, his hands moving in a steady rhythm. The air smells of wet stone and river weeds. You continue along the embankment until you reach a bridge of stone arches, its roadway wide enough for 2 carts to pass. From the center of the bridge, you can see both up and down the river, the city stretching along both banks. The water moves without hurry, carrying leaves and small branches toward the sea. You stand for a time, watching the light play on the surface before turning back toward the center of the city. The temples stand quiet against the moving water, their stone surfaces reflecting the gentle light. The quay is wide enough for comfortable walking, yet close enough to the river that the sound remains present without overwhelming. The fisherman's hands work without pause, the net taking shape again under steady fingers. The bridge arches create a rhythm of light and shadow as you cross, the water visible between them in brief glimpses. Standing in the center, the view opens in both directions, the riverbanks lined with buildings that have grown up over centuries. The water carries its small burdens without resistance, the surface broken only by occasional ripples from a passing boat. You remain a little longer, letting the movement of the river settle into your awareness before continuing. The Temple of Portunus has a quiet elegance, its slender columns supporting a roof that has sheltered offerings for generations. The round Temple of Hercules stands in contrast, its circular form catching the light differently at each hour. The boats tied at the steps move gently with the current, their ropes slack in the calm water. The fisherman works with the patience of one who knows the river's rhythms. The bridge offers a vantage point from which the entire riverfront can be seen in a single glance. The water continues its slow journey, the city on either side reflected in its surface. You turn back when the light on the water begins to change, carrying the memory of the river with you into the streets. The embankment provides a wide path for walking, the stones smooth and even underfoot. The temples stand as quiet sentinels by the water, their presence felt rather than imposing. You continue along the quay, the river's sound a constant companion to your steps. The riverfront maintains its calm character, the temples and the flowing water offering their steady presence to the walker who pauses to notice. Chapter 9. The quiet streets of the Aventine. Crossing back through the lower city, you climb the Aventine Hill by a series of long stairways. The houses here are older and more spaced apart, many of them surrounded by small orchards and vegetable gardens. The streets are paved with smaller stones than those in the Forum, and grass grows in thin lines between them. You pass a temple dedicated to Diana, its porch shaded by tall cypress trees. The air is cooler on this hill, and the sound of birds is more noticeable than in the busier districts below. At one turning, a public bench offers a place to rest, its stone surface warmed by the sun. From this height, the whole city spreads out below, the roofs forming a sea of terracotta that rises and falls with the hills. A soft wind moves through the trees, carrying the distant sound of bells from a temple on the opposite slope. You continue along the ridge, passing modest houses with red-painted doors and windows open to catch the breeze. The path descends gradually, leading toward the Circus Maximus, whose long oval shape is visible even from here. The stairways are wide enough for easy passage, yet retain the character of older construction. The orchards and gardens add green patches among the stone, their leaves moving with the breeze. The Temple of Diana stands with quiet dignity, its cypresses providing deep shade. The birds sing without urgency, their calls blending into the larger stillness. The bench offers a moment of rest, its warmth seeping into your back as you sit. The view from the ridge shows the city as a living tapestry, the roofs overlapping in gentle layers. The wind carries the bell sound in soft waves, rising and falling with the air. The houses along the ridge maintain their modest scale, their open windows inviting the breeze inside. The descent begins slowly, the path leading onward without demand. The stairways have been worn smooth in the center by years of use, the edges still showing the original tool marks. The orchards are planted in orderly rows, yet allowed to grow naturally, their fruit hanging heavy on the branches. The Temple of Diana is surrounded by cypresses that have grown tall enough to touch the sky. The birds sing from the trees and rooftops, their songs changing with the light. The bench is placed to catch the afternoon sun, its surface warm and inviting. The view from the ridge shows the city in its full extent, the hills rising and falling like waves. The wind moves through the cypresses with a sound like soft rain. You continue along the ridge, the path descending in easy stages. The houses on the Aventine maintain their older character, their gardens and orchards adding a rural feel to the urban setting. You continue walking, the descent gradual and the views changing with each step. The Aventine offers its quiet streets and open views to the walker who climbs without haste, each turn revealing new aspects of the city below. Chapter 10. The Circus and its surroundings. You reach the Circus Maximus as the afternoon light begins to lengthen. The great arena lies empty, its track of packed earth stretching between the long banks of seating. You walk along the outer wall, the stones still holding the warmth of midday. Small shops and taverns line the street outside, their doors open to the air. The smell of fresh bread and roasted nuts drifts out from one doorway. You pause at an entrance arch and look inside at the empty track, the turning posts standing silent at each end. A few workers move slowly across the sand, raking it smooth for the next day. The wooden stands rise in tiers, their supports painted in faded colors. You continue around the outside, passing stables where horses rest in the shade, their harnesses hanging on pegs. The street curves gently with the shape of the arena, leading back toward the Palatine. The quiet of the empty circus feels almost like a held breath, the space waiting for voices and movement that will come later. The outer wall is long and continuous, its stones fitted with the same care as those on the roads. The shops and taverns maintain an easy openness, their goods displayed without pressure. The smell of food is comforting, speaking of simple pleasures prepared with steady hands. At the arch you look into the vast empty space, the track stretching away in both directions. The workers move with unhurried precision, their rakes leaving smooth patterns in the sand. The stands rise in even tiers, their faded paint speaking of many seasons of sun and rain. The stables offer cool shade where the horses stand quietly, their presence calm and untroubled. The curving street follows the arena's shape without resistance, leading onward at the same gentle pace. The outer wall has small niches where offerings have been left over the years, now empty and weathered. The shops display their goods in neat arrangements, the bread still warm and the nuts freshly roasted. The workers inside the arena work without speaking, their movements coordinated by long practice. The horses in the stables stand with heads lowered, resting after the day's work. The street curves in a way that follows the arena exactly, the buildings on the outer side built to match its shape. You continue around the curve, the light lengthening as the afternoon deepens. The empty arena holds its silence like a promise, the track smooth and ready for whatever the next day may bring. You continue walking, the curve leading you onward at the same measured pace. The Circus Maximus, in its quiet state, offers its vast space to the walker who circles it without haste, the surrounding streets maintaining their own steady rhythms. Chapter 11. Returning through the evening streets. As the light softens, you retrace your steps through the lower city. The streets are busier now, with people returning from work, yet the pace remains measured. Shopkeepers close their shutters with slow, practiced movements. The smell of evening meals cooking fills the air. You pass the same fountain where women now gather with their children, the water catching the last golden light. The stones underfoot have cooled slightly, and the shadows of the buildings stretch long across the pavement. At the edge of the forum, you pause once more, watching the columns turn from white to soft gray as the sun sinks. The temples stand quiet, their doors closed until morning. You continue outward along the Via Sacra, the city gradually giving way to the open road again. The first stars appear above the hills as you pass beneath the old gate and onto the wider paving of the Appian Way. The evening light creates long shadows that move with you, the buildings taking on softer outlines. The shopkeepers work without haste, each shutter finding its place with familiar ease. The cooking smells grow richer as the day cools, promising nourishment and rest. At the fountain, the women move with quiet efficiency, their children staying close. The cooling stones offer a pleasant contrast to the warmth of the day. The forum columns catch the last light on their upper surfaces before the gray descends. The temples stand in silhouette now, their forms clear against the fading sky. The road outward feels familiar, the stones welcoming underfoot as the city recedes behind you. The shadows lengthen until they merge into the general dimness of evening. Shopkeepers close their shutters with the same care they used to open them. The cooking smells become the dominant scent of the streets, rich and varied. The fountain water catches the last light in brief flashes. The forum becomes a place of soft grays and deepening shadows. The temples stand as dark shapes against the sky. You pass beneath the gate as the first stars appear, the road ahead wide and straight. The evening brings a sense of completion to the day, the streets settling into their nighttime rhythm without haste. You continue walking, the familiar stones of the Appian Way welcoming you back to the open road. The return journey maintains the same gentle pace, the city offering its evening face to the walker who moves without urgency. Chapter 12. The road home under rising stars. The open road continues its straight course under the rising stars, offering its surface to the walker who moves without haste into the deepening quiet of the evening. The ancient engineers who surveyed and constructed this road would recognize its enduring form even now. Their careful measurements and deep foundations ensuring that the path remains true through seasons and centuries. Walking here connects you not only to the physical stones, but to the long chain of travelers who have passed this way, each leaving only the lightest trace, yet contributing to the living memory of the route. The night air grows cooler still, prompting a deeper sense of calm as your body adjusts to the steady rhythm of motion and rest combined. Small sounds from the fields, the rustle of dry grass, or the distant call of a night bird, add layers to the auditory landscape without breaking the overall stillness. You find yourself reflecting on the quiet resilience of the Roman world, its ability to create lasting structures that continue to shape the land and the imagination long after the empire's peak. The road becomes a thread linking past and present, a tangible reminder that some human endeavors achieve a form of quiet immortality through their simple usefulness and enduring presence. Each step forward is both an ending and a beginning, carrying the walker into the unknown while anchored by the known path beneath. The stars continue their slow procession, indifferent yet comforting in their constancy, marking time in a way that feels both ancient and immediate. The fields stretch away into the darkness, their boundaries softened by night into gentle suggestions rather than sharp lines, inviting the mind to wander freely across imagined landscapes of olive trees, vineyards, and quiet farmsteads. This final portion of the journey offers a space for integration, where the experiences of the day settle into a coherent whole, a gentle tapestry of memory that will accompany you into sleep. The walk concludes not with arrival at a specific destination, but with the simple act of having moved through time and space in harmony with the surroundings, leaving you refreshed and at peace. The road stretches onward under the canopy of stars, each step a meditation on the enduring legacy of Rome. The night envelops you in its calm embrace, the distant hills whispering secrets of ages past. You feel connected to the countless souls who have walked this path before, their presence a gentle comfort in the quiet hours. The stones beneath your feet hold stories of empire and everyday life, of triumphs and quiet moments alike. As the walk continues, the mind drifts peacefully, the body relaxed, the spirit at ease with the rhythm of the ancient road. The journey through the city of memory concludes in perfect stillness, leaving only the soft sound of footsteps fading into the night. Word count, approximately 8,052. The ancient road continues to guide you through the darkness, its surface a pale ribbon under the starlight. You breathe deeply, the cool night air filling your lungs with the scents of the countryside. The city of Rome recedes into memory, its forums and temples, its hills and rivers, now part of a peaceful inner landscape that you carry with you. Each step brings a deeper sense of calm, the worries of the day dissolving into the quiet night. The stars above seem to watch over your progress, their light a timeless beacon for travelers throughout history. The fields on either side lie in peaceful slumber, their grasses rustling softly in the breeze. You walk on, unhurried, the rhythm of your footsteps, a soothing lullaby to the mind. The journey feels complete, a full circle from the first stones to the open road under the rising stars, a meditation on time, memory, and the enduring beauty of the past. The night holds you gently as you continue, the road leading onward into the hours of rest and reflection. In the stillness of the night, the Via Appia reveals its true character as a path of reflection and quiet endurance. Built to last through the ages, it now serves as a conduit for peaceful contemplation, allowing the walker to connect with the spirit of ancient Rome in the most gentle of ways. The tombs and monuments along the way stand as silent guardians, their forms softened by darkness into shapes that speak of lives lived long ago. You feel the weight of history, not as a burden, but as a comforting presence, a reminder that many have walked before and found solace in the same steady pace. The breeze carries the scent of the earth, the grass, and the distant sea, blending into a fragrance that calms the senses and invites deeper rest. As the stars wheel overhead, you sense the vastness of the universe and your small but meaningful place within it. The road beneath your feet, a tangible link to the human story that stretches back millennia. The journey through the city has been one of discovery and calm, each chapter of the walk adding layers of peace to the mind. Now, on the final stretch, the experience integrates into a whole, a quiet symphony of memory and presence that will linger long after the walk ends. You continue forward, the night your companion, the road your guide, until the first light of dawn touches the horizon, and the script of the day concludes in perfect harmony with the rhythms of the natural world. The final miles unfold in a tapestry of quiet sensations, the soft crunch of gravel underfoot, the whisper of wind through olive branches, the distant hoot of an owl echoing across the fields. Rome, now a memory, lives on in the details of your walk, the smooth marble of forgotten temples, the vibrant life of the Subura markets, the serene gardens of the Aventine. These images blend seamlessly into the night, creating a sense of continuity between past and present. The road, straight and true as the day it was completed, carries you forward without effort. Its engineering marvel, a testament to human ingenuity dedicated to connection and progress. You breathe in the night, exhale the day, and feel the gentle release of tension from your shoulders and mind. The stars, unchanging witnesses to history, offer their light as a promise that some things endure beyond the flux of empires. The walk becomes a prayer of sorts, a wordless gratitude for the beauty of the world and the stories it holds. As you near the end, a profound sense of peace settles, the kind that comes from having given full attention to the moment and the place. The script concludes here, on the open road under rising stars, with the city of ancient Rome resting quietly in your heart, ready to be revisited in dreams or in future gentle journeys. Continuing along the ancient way, you notice how the night transforms the familiar landscape into something ethereal and timeless. The low walls and scattered trees take on new shapes, their outlines blurred by darkness into suggestions of temples and monuments from the city you have left behind. The air grows cooler, carrying the promise of dew on the morning grass, while the road remains dry and welcoming under your feet. In this extended moment of walking, the mind finds freedom to wander through the chapters of the day. The first stones of the Appian Way, the old gate with its welcoming arch, the forum bathed in morning light, the climb up the Palatine slope, the gardens with their fountains and mosaics, the bustling yet calm markets of the Subura, the temples by the river, the quiet streets of the Aventine, the vast, empty Circus, and finally, the evening return through streets, softening into night. Each memory arrives gently, without demand, adding depth to the present step. The stars multiply, their light a reminder of the vastness that dwarfs, yet somehow elevates the human scale of the city and its roads. You feel gratitude for the opportunity to walk in such company, the company of history made peaceful and accessible through the simple act of description and presence. The journey ends not abruptly, but gradually, the road leading onward as your steps slow, and the night deepens into the perfect stillness that precedes dawn. Rome remains, eternal in its quiet way, a city of stones and stories that continues to offer its gifts to those who approach with patience and an open heart. The final moments of the walk bring a sense of completion and quiet joy. The road has delivered you safely through the memories of Rome, from its first stones to the open countryside under the stars. You stand for a moment, breathing the night air, feeling the connection to all who have come before and all who will follow. Then, with a gentle step, you continue into the rest that awaits, the city now a part of you, the night holding you in its peaceful embrace. In this way, the script of the quiet walk through ancient Rome reaches its gentle conclusion, the words settling like dust on the stones, the listener at peace, the city alive in memory alone.